Hello, dear friends. Here we are at Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m. We are here to nourish our souls together. Yes, we are. And we are studying the book Jesus in the Home. This book is it brings to us lessons that came right after um, the Second World War. Yes, the World War ended, and after that we received this book. As if the spirits are telling us, let us focus on the good, let us work on the good, visualize the good, let us focus on the master, everything else is just a passing thing. Like children, either we focus on the shadow that doesn't exist or on ourselves. Exactly, right? Shadow is simply the fact that there is a body before a light. So actually the shadow doesn't exist per se, it doesn't have life in itself. So it's up to us to really focus on the good. That's why we're studying here at Cardiac Radio 24 hours a day, programs with several hosts, giving everyone an opportunity to learn more about Spiritism, which is at the end of the day, the Promised Consoler. Do you remember when Jesus came and he announced what was going to happen to those who followed him? Do you remember? It's important for us to have this realization and understand that when we focus on the good, many of those who are not synchronized will try to get us out of that. It's very natural. And Jesus said that this was going to happen to everybody. Should we be afraid? No. He's just saying it's going to happen. So don't be surprised, one, and don't stop because other people don't understand. Keep going, keep doing it. As I read today in a book that it's a short booklet by Yogananda's disciple, one of Yogananda's disciple. She says the difference between the sinner and the saint is that the saint keeps persisting. Very wise, very wise. The saint persists. Not that we want to be saints, but we want to progress. We want to improve ourselves to better. Of course, it's the law of God. So persisting is the only option we have. But how do we persist? We have the law of society, mutual help. Okay, that's exactly the lesson we're gonna read tonight in the book Jesus in the Home. Are you ready? I'm gonna say hi to the friends, to our dear Melissa who is here. How are you, Melissa? Andrea Torres is here with us. Hi, Andrea. Big hug to you. Alexandra, how are you, Alexandra? Good to see you here. Juliana, how are you, Juliana? Karina, what a joy, Karina. Sunshine, how are you? Lisa Teles. Sunshine and Lisa Teles, welcome, welcome. Jailton, how are you? Chris Anastasia, what a joy. And, of course, oops. Lappy Wolf, how are you, Lappy? Nora Brazil, welcome. Raquel Bakesh is here with us. Paula, how are you, Paula? Paula, if you have any question, just send me a message, okay? All right. So right now, we're gonna start a meeting with the Master. These meetings, thank God, through the efforts of the good spirits, in mutual help with the incarnate realm through Chico Xavier, we have immortalized the meetings with the Master. So let us feel ourselves seated around with his loving presence. And feel the scripture. So chapter 16, ready? It's about mutual help. In the company of his peers, Andrew, one of the disciples, read a meaningful page from Isaiah and spoke emotionally about the need for salvation. Pause. You know that it's in the scriptures of Isaiah that we have the prophecy of the coming of the Master and what was potentially going to happen to the Master, right? You know. So, why we're saying this? Because many people studied it and could not recognize what happened. Why am I saying this to us? Why are we saying this and highlighting this? In the old scriptures, we have the announcement that the Messiah is going to come and the characteristics, and said that potentially the Messiah was going to be misunderstood and crucified. It's in the scriptures. And yet, the very Pharisees who studied it the most could not recognize it. Why? Vanity, pride. The same happens in our lives. We're here today studying this, but are we really cleansing our ways of encoding the world? Because if we don't change the way we see it, the spirits are going to keep bugging us, and we won't see it. We see it in mediumistic meetings. The spirits come and they reveal themselves. They tell us what's going to happen, what to do. But when we go through the test, we don't recognize it. We don't realize the triggers. We don't realize the scenarios that they have already described. Unfortunately, that's majority of the cases. So let us pay attention, because Andrew read it about the need for salvation, and Matthew commented on the less pleasant aspects of the work, and Philip talked about how hard it was to look after our own affairs when we were dedicated to helping others. Jesus was listening to his disciples in silence, and when the discussion began to die down, he commented candidly. Pause. Go back. Andrew talked about the scriptures. He was moved about the need for salvation, meaning we really need to polish ourselves. Matthew talked about the less pleasant parts of the work, which is normal. Philip talked about how hard it is to look after our own affairs and dedicate to other people. Jesus listened in silence. And when he saw that people were stopping the discussion, he commented candidly. See, again, the body language, how he approached it. He doesn't approach with the voice of a thunder. It's almost like the song, right? Thunder, thunder. No, Jesus wasn't like this. He was pretty much like a coherent master. It was love and firmness altogether. We are yet to see this on earth at that level. But he spoke to clarify. Two old friends were were walking through the desert region of a mountainous area. Both were feeling ill and were trying to protect themselves as best they could from the blasts of freezing air, when they happened upon a half-dead child lying in the road at the mercy of the high winds of winter. One of them stared at the unusual sight and said irritably, "Well, I'm not going to waste my time. I have to worry about taking care of myself. Let's move on. The other one was more compassionate and replied, "Friend, we must save the child. He is our brother in humanity." "I can't," said the heartless friend. "I'm tired and sick. This stranger would be an unbearable burden. It's cold and it's storming. We have to make it to the next village without wasting another minute." And he set off in long strides. The kind-hearted traveler, however, leaned over the outstretched boy and took a few minutes to hold him paternally against his chest. Cradling him close, he pressed onwards, although at a slower pace. The freezing rain fell methodically all night long. Nonetheless, after a long time, carrying the precious bundle, he reached the inn in the village. He was greatly surprised when he didn't find his friend there, the one who had gone on ahead of him. It was only on the following day, after painstaking search, that the unfortunate traveler was found dead, hidden beside the flooded road. Hurriedly pressing on alone and selfishly trying to save himself, he was unable to withstand the waves of violent cold air, and fell over soaking wet, without anything to help him against the freezing weather. His companion, on the other hand, had received the soft warmth from the child's body, as he held it close to his heart, and had been able to endure the frigid night. Thus he was saved from a similar tragedy. He had discovered the sublimity of mutual help. By helping the abandoned child, he had helped himself. By selflessly stepping forward to help someone else, he had managed to triumph against the hardship of the journey, thereby enjoying the blessings of mutual salvation. The simple story left the disciples taken aback and touched. A look of tender admiration was evident in the tear- teary-eyed, humble women attending the meeting, while the men gazed at each other in wonder. After a short silence, Jesus concluded expressively, "People's most eloquent and exact testimonies before the Almighty Father are their own deeds. The very ones whom we help are our support. The heart we save will become a resource for us one day or another. Let no one doubt this. Those who live for themselves are merely a living ornament of loneliness, but those who work on behalf of others are creditors of everyone's help. By helping, we will in turn be helped. By giving, we will in turn receive. This is the divine law." Seems simple, but it's not. If it were that simple, Jesus wouldn't have the need to share it with us. But it's about the sublimity of mutual help. So these two old men who were ill, they needed to survive. A child appears, it's half dead. One of them makes a choice. I'm going to take care, even if I slow down, even if whatever, but I'm going to help this child. The other one is washing his or her hands and saying, "No, thank you." The one that despised died. This death is a symbol for us. Because in the story, in the parable, the story that the Master is telling us, there is a representation, a psychological representation, in this horizontal movement in life to assist someone. I inevitably, by the law of the mental field, I receive, I exchange. I keep myself alive. That's the movement of life. Life moves itself. It's not stagnated. The movement of the man was zero. He didn't give, so he didn't receive. Law of the mental field. You don't move yourself, you die. Psychologically. Paul of Tarsus, he talks about it. But he says, the death of the old man inside of me, to the birth of the new. So for us tonight, we need to choose in our daily life. Do I believe in this good or don't I believe in the good? Do you believe in the good? Really? So why does God allow us to go through situations like this in which we have to choose to help or not help? And we hesitate because we think other things are more important. And when we don't make that step, we are not in the movement of life. So no wonder when Jesus, at the very end, he gives us the conclusion. He says that our testimony before God are our deeds. The heart we save will become a resource for us one day or another. Those who live for themselves are merely a living ornament of loneliness, but those who work on behalf of others are creditors of everyone's help. By helping, we will in turn be helped. By giving, we in turn receive. This is the divine law. Why we're saying this? Let's give daily scenarios. You know, in spiritist centers, we have spiritual treatments, passes, we have talks, activities for children, mediumship meetings, etc. Question. It's so good when we know that there is a center open to help in critical times. That there is a center there for us to do our continuing studies. But what many people forget is this. There are people who are living their daily issues to think of the problems of others first. We, here connected, we're all being invited to share our time between what is important solely for us and what is important for the common good. Some say, but I will help when I am better. That doesn't exist. Because spiritually and psychologically, we only catapult ourselves when we are in motion. There's not going to be a day we're going to be better, then everything's going to work perfectly. It is just like that. We need to do the good even though we may not have all the resources. It may not be easy for us. The perfect time. It's never going to happen. It has to be just like Jesus. It's in the middle of a desert. I know people who dream of large spiritist centers, ideal environments. We're so spoiled nowadays, right? That we forget that the governor of the planet didn't have a particular church, a temple, a center. He met with people in the roadways, on the mounts, at the beach, in people's homes. He didn't have like a conference room, a conference center, a whole fancy event. So why do we expect particular conditions to see unfolding the plan of God? That mentality is the mentality of Judas, that believes in the appearances, in the exterior first. We, with the Christ, the guiding model, we do the good in the simplicity of the resources that are given to us. If I need to begin a God at home in my house, I will. If I need to start it in a library, I will. If it has to be here and there, it's gonna happen here and there. What is important is to light up that light and allow people to be benefited by it. That's what means keeping the lamp under the bushel. We can't. So what is our homework? The homework is to do what the other man did. He got out of his expectations. He met somebody who needed his help. He went out of his way to really accommodate that need. In the next 24 hours, let us pray to God that we're attentive enough to get ourselves out of our zone of control to be able to offer that hand to those who are near us. Could be inside of our homes, outside, at work, anywhere. As long as we practice in the next 24 hours, all of us, this, I will say this quote unquote, discomfort of helping somebody, even though it may not be what we expected for that day. But we do it with our whole heart, like the men, believing that that's the most important thing to do. And then at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. This is the message that we are asked to meditate upon. We don't have much time on earth, the luxury to say, yeah, maybe tomorrow, one day I'm going to do this project. Do it today. Because tomorrow may never come. Not in this life. But we need to do it in a peaceful, agreeable way. Right? Dulce, Adilson, Lívia Moraes, John da Rosa, hello friends, Silvio Otero, Justina Martiri. Yes. So for us, the message is this. Let us help. So one day we have the luxury of receiving the help as well. It's up to us. So let us decide to say this prayer and ask our dear Master, may we be attentive in the next 24 hours. May we pay attention to the needs of others. And please help me, help all of us realize that I can always improve myself, believe in my inner progression. May your blessing shower upon us, strengthening us to do what we need to do, to help whomever we need to help. We ask for your guidance always, for your protection as you grant us permission to wrap up this moment of learning with you. And so be it. Chapter 16, Mutual Help. Tomorrow, when we come back, it's about in praise of courtesy. It's another lesson in which Jesus is going to probably surprise us with his nonverbal lessons, we would say. Let's pay attention on this, meditate, and do our homework. Okay, friends? Many blessings, and until tomorrow, God willing.